Hi, everyone. This is Heather with the Old Schoolhouse, and I am here with another Homeschool Live. And I am so excited to be with Nadeem of CTC Math. He has been working on the marketing team for a long time with CTC Math, and he has so much information to share with us about this incredible program. If you are looking for a new math program, a new way to introduce math into your homeschool, or a way just to work on some skills that your child might be struggling with, CTC Math is absolutely the way to go. Hi, Nadeem. Thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Good, Heather. Thanks for having me. Very excited.
Well, I would love if you could share with us a little bit about CTC Math. Before you do, I would just want to remind everyone, share this in your timeline and let anyone know that this interview is going on, because you are welcome to leave comments in the chat below. So please leave any comments or questions that you have for Nadeem throughout this interview. And Nadeem, you can go for it and tell us about CTC Math.
Yeah, thanks, Heather. CTC Math is an online math curriculum from K to 12. Um, we, we've been around for 30 plus years, and the program is in Australia. It originates from Australia. The US, we've been in the US for 10 plus years now, serving homeschooling families. New Zealand, South Africa, the UK, and a few other countries. And we got people all around the world using the program. One of the unique things about CTC Math is the video tutorials. They're short, concise, easy to understand, giving your students aha moments. I always say, when you're considering a math curriculum, pull up 2 lessons, from different programs, but the same lesson, and get your children to watch them. Get them to review it, and see which one gives them the aha moment. And we always love hearing from families about how CTC Math has really changed their lives.
I know. When I think of math and I think of my experience growing up, I just remember my public school experience, and it was not good. I dreaded after lunch class going to math. I knew that that was coming next, and I was never thrilled about it. And I even needed to have tutors. It just never really clicked for me, maybe until my senior year or in college. And students don't need to dread math. Just because there is that process that is incorporated in high school, there are so many different ways to approach math. Can you maybe share just the unique approach that CTC Math has that might be different from a public school experience?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I always say that CTC Math gives you all the tools, and you pick and choose the tools that are necessary for your individual circumstances or your family. Yeah. So there's really that flexibility. There's that personalized learning which takes place. A few practical examples of what that looks like is the access to all lessons from all grade levels, but also the adaptive questions, which change in difficulty based on the student's ability. So we never deliver a question that's too difficult or too easy. It's always the right question at the right time. Clever algorithms working in the background, calculating, response time, whether it was correct, and we'll deliver the right. We'll have a good think about what question the student should see next. So that adaptive questions really does help to build confidence. I also think that the question bank wizard. So this is a fantastic tool that parents have access to, where they can log in to their parents' area and create a custom worksheet. It can be based on one lesson or many lessons. And with the question bank wizard, you're able to pre-test or post-test a student based on one lesson or many lessons. You can select the difficulty, the time length, and it really is customizable.
That is so perfect, because then the parent is still the teacher. It's not just, putting the student in front of the screen, but the parent, the difficult things they can work on in front of the screen, but then they can, work hand in hand with the student with these worksheets. And I love that they can be customizable, because the parent knows the child best and they know what the child is struggling with. So I love that option. That is so wonderful. Like you said, CTC Math is all over the world in so many different countries used, and it's been used in many different ways, not just for homeschooling, but a lot of homeschoolers use it. Can you share how CTC Math helps homeschooling families?
Yeah, I think it's important to note that Pat, the co-founder, is a homeschooler himself. So it's a homeschool program, essentially at heart, built by homeschoolers for homeschoolers. That's the original origins, and uh, I think we know how to look after homeschooling families. Yeah. Again, I'm going to reiterate this point: access to all lessons from all grade levels. Now, why is this so important? Because students work at their own pace. We don't hold them back. If they're progressing really, really well, why not start next year's math? If they're struggling and they really need to fill in those gaps, uh, because maybe they've moved from public school or they've had some time off learning due to sickness or illness, or you've switched from a different program, they're not all the same and they don't all align in the same way. You really need to find those holes and fill those gaps, which is so important for homeschooling families. Um, I'll also say that we know how to look after homeschoolers. We have a half price homeschool discount compared to our full price. Homeschoolers get a half price discount. The family membership includes all your children. There's no limit. We don't charge extra per student. It's just a single homeschool rate. And you just have to go into the tools section to see the fantastic reporting, the accountability, the ability to set tasks and assign work, whether it be a day in advance or a year in advance. The weekly revisions, which really helps with the spiral revision. Our video tutorials very much take a mastery approach where we focus on one concept at a time. Again, short, concise, to the point. And we really make sure that the student really understands that point that's being delivered. But we do have spiral revision. So it's really been thought out in that sense. It's very intentional.
That's really good. So the tasks, would that just be a parent wanting to, make sure their student is doing one lesson a day, or would that also be used for the spiral revision that you're talking about? Or how exactly would that work if a parent wants to set certain tasks for their child? Could you explain more in detail how a parent would get started with that?
Great. Yeah, great question. Well, there's this whole tasks tab in the parents area, and it's very easy to navigate, very easy to use. But you can set anything as a task. You can set a lesson, you can set a diagnostic test, you can set a weekly revision, you can create your own worksheet and set that as a task as well. It's up to you. It's all the tools that you want, and you pick and choose the tools. Now, if you find that your students are, log in and they work through the lesson order, because that's what we actually recommend at some point, that you get to a stage where there's no gaps in your math, there's a solid foundation, and you're just working through the curriculum order as listed in CTC Math, doing lesson after lesson. Now, they might not need a task set. You just say, log in 3 days or 4 days a week and complete a lesson and work sequentially down the order. But for any other reason, if you do need the tasks, task function, that is at your fingertips, and you can use it as in-depth or as light as you like.
And Sheila just shared that she uses the tasks function and she found it very easy to use. And I've talked to other moms too. It is very easy and it just helps the parent and the student stay on track. And that is a wonderful option. I would love just to pick your brain about a question, hypothetically,
Yeah.
not pulling from one of my 5 children here, but if there was a child that was struggling with, let's say, their 7 times tables, you talked about how the program is intuitive, how it will give more difficult questions or, might ease up on them a little bit. Is that something, if a student is struggling with something like that, that would be something that you would be able to create a task for or a worksheet if they need to work on those before moving on? Or is that something that the program would help them along with?
Yeah, great question. That's very, very good. So we could certainly set a worksheet, and you can certainly go into 7 times tables and focus on that. We've also got some math fact times table exercises to do. So there's the speed skills and the times tables, shoot them up. Really recommend that because they're built to on math facts, to consolidate math facts and really understand those. So if you're doing a specific lesson on 7 times tables, and we do have a straight lesson on that, you're not going to get a question from 6 or 5 times tables. So the first question might be 7 times 2. And if they get that right, 14, great. All right, they're probably ready for something like 7 times 4 now. And then the really hard ones will be 7 sevens, 7 nines, 7 13s, so on and so forth. But we're not going to deliver a question that's outside of the scope of the lesson. So, but you can drop it down to 6 times tables, 5 times tables. You can rewatch the video tutorial. So that's how the adaptive questions work. They still work within the scope of the lesson, but the difficulty in the questions we're not going to hit them with 7 times 9, beat their confidence up. They get it wrong. Their confidence is all beat up.
Right.
Obviously, those easier questions are going to be from 6 down because we've assumed that they've done it prior.
That's really good. And like you said, that's the mastery approach, and that's wonderful. I think that definitely helps a lot of parents who are coming into this for the first time, for sure. If you could give parents one piece of advice for their students when it comes to teaching math, what would that be?
Yeah, I think this is a really good question. I think it's all about confidence and perseverance. Because what you tend to find is that often students are beat on confidence when they don't like math. If you've got the math tiers in your home, it's often a situation that they're lacking in confidence. Now, we don't want to do anything that's difficult. We don't enjoy it particularly. So the key is to build confidence. How do we build confidence? Quick wins. Try to identify those areas of weakness and the struggles. And when a child starts to get those aha moments, then they start to get it a little bit more. You see them, shoulders are back, they're a bit more of a smile, and they're willing to do it. They want to do it. So perseverance, but not perseverance in hitting your head against a brick wall and just persevering through the tears. It's persevering in such a way that you try to unlock or find that tool that's really going to help your child. I'm not saying it's definitely CTC math. We come with a 12-month money back guarantee because we know that each child is unique, and there's going to be no one fit solution for absolutely everyone. We try to cover as many different learning styles as possible and try to accommodate as many different students as possible. But we know we're not going to get absolutely 100%. So finding the right program out there, and I think outsourcing math is really, really helpful. Get someone to do the heavy lifting for you.
It's true. And it's funny. I don't know what it is with homeschool parents. A lot of us can be stubborn and say, no, we can do this. But then we pull from, and obviously a lot of moms can who have that skill set. But for those of us like me who, like I said, struggled with math, I think in my mind, I have to do this exactly like it was in public school, but I don't. There are so many resources available, and like so many homeschoolers say, it's not the same as when a lot of people started with the modern homeschool movement in the late 70s, early 80s, when there was like 3 options to choose from. Now there's so many, and CTC math has definitely proven to be a perfect way to outsource and just to have a breath of fresh air, knowing that my kids are, getting their math skills in, and with my minimal help, it's wonderful.
It's very difficult to learn math from a textbook. So if we give a student a textbook and say, here, learn math, it's near impossible. They need the lesson delivered. They need the questions shown to them. It's very much taught by example.
Right. That's really good. So for those tuning in for the first time and may not be familiar with CTC Math, this is a video tutorial online based program. And these videos are, like you mentioned, Nadeem, short and concise, but they're quality and they're easy to use. What grade levels, again, does it go as young as?
K to 12. So we go up to calculus.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so for those younger learners, we might have some parents wondering and concerned that they might not be able to read the questions. How do you approach those concerns?
Great questions. Yeah. So I've got my 6-year-old who's in year 1, grade 1, I should say. and then my 4-year-old who's pre-kindergarten, but has started kindergarten. And Emma's reading skills have shot up, but Chloe's can't read at all. And Emma's been using it since the age of 4. And we have this speaker function. We have this button that you click on, and it reads the question out to them. So it's very easy. They can be very independent and do it on their own. Now, they might need some help navigating the screen, depending on their computer skills. And I want parents to rest assured, because it's not games, it's not gimmicky, it's not games based. They don't log in and the first thing that they do is build an avatar. In fact, we don't build avatars at all. There's no mystery wonderland. There's no games every 15 minutes. We're not a babysitting tool. We're an educational product. The program is not designed to increase screen time. The program is designed to improve learning outcomes in the area of math. So that's very, very important, because sometimes we can think that, yes, my child's done an hour of math today, they must be an absolute whiz. Well, we need to see what and a really good practical exercise is, as soon as they're finished, shut this laptop screen, sit down with them for 5 minutes and ask them to show you what they just learned. Or give them an example, give them a question, even the same question that they just did. Because often these programs, it's very easy that they're very clever in the way that it's very easy to get a tick pass mark and a student to pick the correct answer, but then they haven't actually learned anything, just with the way the question's presented and shown and done on the screen. So we really actually want our kids learning.
That's really good. And then I noticed recently, I don't know how recently, but there's a feature where if a student finishes their lesson, they can go for, is it mastery? Is that what it's called? They can actually do more questions. And it's funny. I actually have my 7-year-old, he asked me, like, I really want to, complete all of the questions, not just, get the confetti. You get confetti at the end of each lesson. If you get 100%, which is always a great goal for the kids. But then there's that extra little push. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, mastery is a great way that we wanted to introduce a way to ensure that the students are seeing the highest level of questions. So they don't see them on the first go, of course. So the number of stars, 1, 2, 3, and 4, basically indicates the level. Now, they don't know this. They're just working towards mastery. So once they've hit the 4th star, that means that they've seen some of the hardest questions within the program, within that lesson, I should say. So it's always good. We deliver 10 questions at a time. So we always encourage the students to do at least a second set, just so they can see the more difficult questions. And we thought, what's the best way of doing this? And we introduced the mastery method.
It's a wonderful concept. My kids love it. Kristen, she is sharing, I sat with my son yesterday during his division lesson. I could really see how the questions are designed to make sure he understood the concept. So that just goes along with what you were saying, Nadine, that it's obvious that you are putting forth that effort and that it's not just a game. Kids can see right through that. They know. They know when they're using an app for fun or if it's educational. And I just appreciate that the CTC Math is an educational based tool. Yes, it's online, but it absolutely can speed the process of teaching your student a math concept quickly and effectively and efficiently. So, okay, if we have a mom and she's really excited to try CTC Math, but she doesn't know where her student falls. Homeschoolers are notorious for not necessarily being at grade level, at least my family. We just like to teach our kids where they are at. How can a student or a parent find where their student should start out with CTC Math?
Excellent question. And this is so important in the area of math. We want to make sure that there's no gaps or holes. We want to make sure that there's that solid foundation. And I'd recommend the diagnostic tests. The diagnostic tests appear in each and every topic. But it might be a bit, there's a great video. So if you log in to the parents area, in the top right hand corner, there's a need help button. You click on the need help button and there's a question there's a video on placement tests, which is great and easy to follow up. It's not just one. You're not going to sit down and have one test for 20 minutes, half an hour, and we're going to say this is exactly where your child needs to be. This is a test that will diagnose. It's a series of tests that will diagnose all the areas of weakness and give you the opportunity and your child the opportunity to fill those gaps. So it's a process where you do a series of tests and a series of questions, and it's a little bit longer than just sitting down and taking one placement test. But once you're finished, you're going to have some great results, and it's going to be very, very rewarding.
That is so helpful and useful for the parent. And I just love how the parent is involved in all aspects of the education using CTC Math. I love that you mentioned, after a lesson, asking your student, okay, what did you learn? Or ask a specific question to make sure they learned what they were supposed to learn. And, but there's also reports that I've noticed that the parent receives for the children to see where they are. Can you talk about that a little bit too?
Yeah, we have a whole reporting section, and there's a series of reports. You can get a snapshot of where they are at in the grade. You can get a detailed report outlining each and every lesson that they've completed and their scores, date passed, date attempted, the number of attempts. We've also got the specific reports associated to tasks, whether they completed the task on time, whether it was late, how much of the task they've completed as well. You can download a history log of the student, and that just shows their activity within the program. So what lessons they viewed, how long they were viewing it for, how long they attempted a particular set of questions. This is great when a child sort of says that, I did my questions, but the score didn't appear. And you can go, well, you logged in and you logged out 2 minutes later. Or you logged in and you didn't actually click on the questions. Or, did you watch the video tutorial? Yes. And they've just gone straight to the questions. So things like that. So students that need a little bit more accountability, there's that functionality there.
Yeah. And then it doesn't take them long once they realize that you can tell
Yeah.
what they've been doing, what they haven't been doing.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a great tool, especially for my teenagers. I'm usually hands-on with the younger ones, but with my teenagers, I use that for sure and say, oh, it looks like you logged in X amount of days this week. What happened on the other day? So, and then my husband will come in and say, okay, you need to do those 2 extra lessons. So it works great.
It's good to hear that you're using it so well, Heather.
We love it. It's a wonderful tool. So, well, you mentioned the half price discount for homeschoolers, which is an incredible offer. And like you said, it is for the entire family. You just pay one price. Everybody has access. Can you tell our audience again how they can receive that discount?
Sure. Yeah, and that price is I hate it when someone talks about a price, but then they don't actually give the price. So it's important that I tell you it's $148.50 for a family membership for 12 months, so 1 year. So $150 all your children for 12 months, or $98.50, just under $100 for a single student for 12 months. We also have some monthly options, but if you go to ctcmath.com and click on homeschoolers, you'll activate that half price discount. We've also got a free trial, which I really recommend you do. But remember, with the full membership, it's absolutely risk-free. There's a 12-month money-back guarantee, no questions asked. So if for any reason or no reason at all, CTC Math is not for you or your children, just send us an email and we'll get you that refund back promptly.
Well, that is absolutely incredible. I don't think I've ever heard of that from any other company. So that I love how it's risk-free. You can try it out. You can, purchase it and get that refund if it's not for your family. I've heard plenty of people excited about CTC Math. I've been using it for years. I've been using it for years. It's been a wonderful program for our family, and I'm so thankful. So yes, definitely be sure to check out ctcmath.com, check out the homeschool option, and Get started with that today. You will not regret that. Thank you so much, Nadeem. Do you have any last final parting words for anybody maybe starting out on their homeschooling journey that you'd
For
like to share?
sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just know that there's lots of support there. We at CTC Math certainly appreciate homeschoolers, and we want to be part of that journey with you and support you. Now, whether looks like using CTC Math or not, if you have any questions in the area of math, that's what we specialize in. That's what we're good at. Whether you're using the program or not, just send us an email, info at ctcmath.com. You can attention it to me or just the general team with your question, and we're here to help.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your availability and answering our questions. We appreciate it so much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and I hope you will join us for our next Homeschool Live. It will be on April 5th, and this is going to be a unique one. This is going to have Jay Ryan, and he is going to be talking about natural timekeeping. Paul and Gina Suarez will also be joining us, and it'll be very informative with a lot going on during that time with Easter coming up. And Jay's going to be sharing with us what you'll be able to see in the sky during this time of year. So that's April 5th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and I hope to see you there. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.